Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stella and today I will be doing the mid-year freak out book tag. I know that it's quite late now since it's already the end of July and by the time you watch this it will be August, but I really like this tag and I want to do it, so let's go. So the first one is best book you've read so far in 2022 and the answer is easily Pachinko by Jin Lee. I talked about this book in my previous vlog. To summarize, I love this book because it's so heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. And it's just so profound and the writing is gorgeous, the narrative is so easy to follow. The characters are flawed so that makes you root for them more. And I just cannot recommend it enough. Next up is best sequel you've read so far in 2022, and this is the only sequel that I read in 2022. It's Where She Went by Gayle Forman. This is the second book of If I Stay. It's a very popular book, so I guess you've heard about it. So If I Stay follows this young girl who got into an accident and went into a coma, and then the second book follows the boyfriend, the perspective of the boyfriend, what happens after book one. I read this book because one of my best friends loved this book so much, and I agree with her because the narrative voice of the boyfriend is so tender. Like, he's just this soft boy that you want to protect. I love him so much and he's such an ideal boyfriend. So next up is new release that you haven't read yet but want to. That will be Pure Color by Sheila Heti. I don't know much about this book, but this sounds intriguing, and even that cover alone, like just a blob of green, I think that it's very captivating in its own way, and I'm so curious about this book. But I don't want to know much about it, so I will just leave it at that and start reading it soon. The next one is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that would be Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. So Celeste Ng is one of my favorite authors. I love her first book, Everything I Never Told You, so much, and I have so much hope for this third book that I just cannot wait to read it. I'm so excited about it. Next up is Biggest Disappointment, and that will be The Grief Keeper by Alexandra Villasante. So this book follows two young girls. They're both lesbians and I love their romance story. So the concept of the story is this sci-fi technology in which you can take the grief of another person into you to help them bear the grief inside them. And I think that is such a wonderful concept. It's just that I don't think the execution is good enough. I just don't feel that much from this book, but I still like it. I was just a bit disappointed with it because I expected more from the title and from this beautiful cover alone. So next up is Biggest Surprise, and that will be Take Me With You by Andrea Gibson. So I read this in just one sitting when I traveled to Singapore and I went to a library and I found this book and I just read it and finished it in less than 2 hours. They have this way with words to just draw you into feeling a lot of things all at once, and it's just so beautiful. It's a surprise for me because sometimes I cannot really connect with poetry in which the phrases are so highly stylized. But this book is so easy to read. Like, the sentences just flow and flow into your heart. If you just started getting into reading poetry, I would definitely recommend this book. So next up is favorite new author. That will also be Andrea Gibson. Because after reading the Take Me With You, I really want to read more of their books. But right now I haven't got more, but I will definitely buy more of their books in the future. So next up is newest fictional crush. And this is actually not new because I reread this book by listening to the audiobook a while ago. But I have a huge crush on Davis, one of the main characters in this book. He's just so understanding and so caring. He's this type of nerdy boy who is kind of gloomy. He likes writing quotes on his blog, and I just think that is so cute. That's 100% my type. He's my crush. So newest favorite character will definitely be Sunja from Pachinko by Jin Lee, because she's this character that is so strong even though so many things happen. So this whole book is kind of like the story of how she always gets through everything, like life keeps going for her even though so many terrible things happen, and it's just so inspiring. I want to be like her and I wish I can be like her. Oh, I love her so much. And then the next one is Book That Made You Cry, and I'm really sorry, but I can explain. So actually I didn't really cry when I was reading this book, but there is one part that hits me in the heart when this woman and daughter lost their husband and father, and then there is a sentence here: at his burial, young Jin and her daughter were inconsolable. The next morning, the young widow rose from her pallet and returned to work. Those two sentences with the word inconsolable, I feel like it encapsulates perfectly what it's like to grieve for someone that you love. And then yesterday when I dreamt about my mother, I missed her so much. I started thinking about this sentence and I was sobbing and sobbing. I was inconsolable. What it feels like to lose someone that you love, and then the next day you have to get up again and go back to life. It's just perfect. Next up is Book That Made You Happy, and that will be the Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. So I listened to the audiobook of this book like 6 times already, because it really calms me when I feel sad, when I feel like pressured about so many problems in life. The audiobook is narrated by John Green himself, and his voice is so soothing. It almost feels like someone is sitting right beside you and talk to you about the beauty in simple things and just little things in life, and it makes you appreciate life more. I definitely will listen to this audiobook again because I think that it really makes me happy. If you need something to lift up your mood, definitely listen to this book. Next up is Most Beautiful Book That You've Bought This Year. That would be Notes on Grief by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I love this book because like the color of the cream and then the combination with green is just so beautiful for me. And then the inside is such a delightful shade of green. Like you can see the brushstroke of the painting. I don't have any more words. The last one is What Books Do You Need to Read by the End of the Year? And that would be Women in the Picture by McCormack. So this is kind of like an essay about the roles of women in art. Like it criticizes why there are so few women artists like back then, and then it also brings up the feminism in art history. And then I also want to read The Perpetual Guest by Schwabsky, Art in the Unfinished Present. So this is also like a collection of essays about art. It mentions like a lot of well-known artists and about their works. So I'm really curious about this book. I guess that's it for this video. I hope you like it. I'm sorry that I'm so awkward. I'll see you next time. Bye.